my name is Melvin Penn II, and I will be interviewing my mother, Susan Penn, and we will be discussing the 1963 civil rights protests in Danville, Virginia. The most violent episodes of the civil rights movement in Virginia took place in Danville during the summer of 1963. So how old were you doing all of this?
I was 5 years old.
Do you have any family members that participated in the 1963 civil rights protests in Danville, Virginia?
Yes, my mother, Lily Hubbard.
Why do you believe she joined the civil rights protests in 1963?
I believe she joined the civil rights protest in 1963 because of trying to get better jobs, because of civil rights for everyone, and because of a better future for her children.
Whatever happened to her due to her involvement in the 1963 protest in Danville?
Being involved in the civil rights movement had her jailed, beaten, even though she was trained to protest in a nonviolent way. All those things happened to her. She was blacklisted from any other jobs after that and had to leave Danville and move to Baltimore.
What was the purpose of the protests of 1963? And what was Danville, Virginia's reaction to the protests of 1963?
So the purpose of the civil rights movement was to gather an organization called the Danville Christian Progressive Association, and because of that, the leader, Reverend L.G. Campbell, created a statement called a Statement to Danville Citizens.
And can you read from the statement of the Danville citizens?
Danville now has a black eye around the world. Young girls, women, and children have been beaten like dogs by policemen and even by the chief of police. The police have used tear gas and high-pressure fire hoses to disperse and injure peaceful demonstrators. They have broken into the house of God and made illegal searches of private homes as well. The city government has steadfastly refused to negotiate in good faith to settle the grievances of the Negro community. We have asked for the dropping of all charges against demonstrators, opening of all public accommodations, opening of jobs in city government, improvements in the Negro community such as streets, sidewalks, streetlights, fair hiring practices in local industries and businesses, representation on municipal boards and commissions, and the integration of schools and hospitals. As a concerned citizen of Danville and as a normal being, will you please encourage the city government to meet our demands? Will you encourage local merchants to hire fairly and to treat all customers with dignity? Will you protest police brutality and illegal acts by the police?
Were the citizen meetings or rallies, as they called them, held by the Danville Progressive Association organized?
Yes, I have here copies of the agendas, and it shows that there were guest speakers and prayer, scripture, and important information shared, teaching the members to continue to be mindful of being nonviolent, to follow the rules and regulations of what they were taught.
Can you tell us the order of the rally?
Yes, on July 11th, 1963, we see here that the first speaker was Reverend Ralph Abernathy, and the main address, second speaker, was Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
So there were actually notable speakers at the meetings held by the Danville Christian Progressive Association.
Yes, there was information shared, teaching lectures on how to be mindful of taking care of themselves, how to prevent serious illnesses when beat by the police.
Did the people involved in these protests ever get a thank you for participating in the protests of 1963?
Yes, I have two documents here, letters from the Loyal Baptist Church in Danville and Calvary Baptist Church, which is our family church. We have 4 generations that belong to this church in Danville, dated July 17th, 1963. It states, the official board and assembled membership of the Calvary Baptist Church takes this opportunity to express to you and the general public our deep appreciation to you and our gravest concern for the sacrifice you are making in our local fight for human rights and dignity. Our hearts join yours in the hope and all-out effort to win the objectives of the present crisis resulting from a long and studied pattern of stubborn failure to recognize persons for their worth without the penalty of unfair discrimination because of race and color. We will give strength to endure. Yours in his name, officials, membership and congregation of Calvary Baptist Church, and the pastor at that time was Reverend McCrary.
Here's my final question. Did these protests have any positive outcomes for the African American community in Danville, Virginia, as well as the United States of America?
Yes, as a result of the Civil Rights Movement, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965 was born.